What does it mean to live unlimited? For some, it's learning to navigate a world not built for you. For others, it's discovering that strength isn't found in perfection, it's found in perseverance. The Living Unlimited podcast celebrates life without limits, real stories, raw conversations, and practical wisdom from people living boldly with limb differences. Each episode shines a light on what's possible when we choose courage over comparison and creativity over conformity. Because life isn't about what's missing, it's about what's possible. Welcome back to another episode with Jessica Cox and myself, Pauline Victoria. We are so excited today. This is a huge milestone for our podcast because it is the first time we have a guest expert / speaker / influencer on our podcast. And we are thrilled to be joined by Elena Perez. Elena came to us from Jessica. They're friends. And so, Jessica, I'm going to let you share a little bit about how you met Elena and your thoughts about her before we dive into our interview.
I'm excited too. This is so special to have the three of us here. I was just thinking about what are the chances, if it's 1 in 100,000 chances of being born without arms, times to the third degree because it's the three of us here. That is a very special occasion. And wow, I love Elena, thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy mom, influencer, and do it all. So glad because the first time I met Elena, to all the listeners, I actually knew about her from her social media first, before meeting her first, which usually most people, you meet someone for the first time and then you hear about their following and such. But it was the reverse. So it was almost kind of like if you meet someone you've seen in the media or on television and you knew about them in that way first and then you meet them, and it's a totally different meeting experience. And seeing you that day, I remember in Houston, Texas, you're walking to a table and I think it was your boyfriend at the time and your little daughter. She's so cute. She looks like a mini you, and you guys were just like walking towards the table. And I'm such a visual person. I just remember saying, "Hey, Elena, come sit with us." And you sat at our round table at this conference for Enhancing Skills for Life. And that was the start to an amazing friendship and just getting to know you and know about your family, know about the amazing example you are in the world for so many women. I loved it. So I'm excited that you're on. And Pauline, so glad that you're meeting her for the first time as well. And here we are together.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me on here. I appreciate it.
We're really excited to talk with you because all three of us use our experiences as someone with limb differences to help the world in some way, whether it bring hope, inspiration, motivation, and we do it in a variety of capacities. Jessica, you're a motivational speaker. You've been doing that for 19 plus years. Myself, I'm a coach and speaker and author and a podcaster. I have another podcast besides this. And Elena, you are an influencer, and we're going to get into that. But I want to preface this conversation that just because you have a limb difference or a really amazing story doesn't mean you have to do all of this. This is something that was placed on our heart that we're feeling called to do, to fulfill as a part of our purpose. So just take all of this with a grain of salt as you listen to us. But there are a lot of questions that I think it will just be really fun for Jessica and I to talk about with you, Elena, because putting ourselves out there is a big deal. It really is. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit, first of all, for those who are listening, if you can describe yourself because they can't see us, and what is your role in social media and how you use your limb difference as a platform really to influence the world.
So when I started social media, I started as a hobby. I had my daughter, she was not even a year old at that time. And I was just stay-at-home mom. And I started watching other people on social media and makeup groups, and they were just playing with makeup. And I already knew how to do my makeup, but I didn't know how to do my lashes and things like that. And I wanted to advance in my makeup skills. Once I started getting comfortable in the private makeup groups, everyone encouraged it to start my platform. And when I started it 7 years ago, it just started with 500 follows, and then it just branched almost to 600K now. And it's just been amazing with everyone just sharing. I was very scared of the criticism and the people that would come in that doesn't understand my situation and how I was able to adapt and take care of myself and being a mom. But it has grown my self-esteem a lot through the years. And do I have my battles? Absolutely, because social media is a very scary place to be sometimes. And trying to get yourself out there and try to influence other people, and not just other people in the world, but your own children. And it was just something I love to do. And just to be able to work with the companies that I work with now and then doing motivational speaking as well. It's been such a humbling experience for myself. And I love what social media has done and been able to have me get out of my shell.
I'm just thinking this getting out of your shell thing, which I think no matter who we are, limb difference or not, we feel like we want to protect ourselves and we have a certain level of privacy, especially I guess if you're leaning more introvert like myself. So I guess my question about vulnerability is how are you able to get over that vulnerability, willing to be vulnerable with other people, knowing that there are critics out there? Was there any one particular thing or something you said to yourself or something someone else said that really helped you do that?
I think it was the support that I had, like my moderators and my admins and my closest friends that were on the comments with me to help me to remind myself who I was and to not consider those bad comments that are thrown my way. Just as kind of like a mind over matter type of thing. And it was very hard because mentally it can get to you after a while. I mean, we are humans, we're going to feel emotions. And I know that doing social media, you have to have thick skin for sure. But it's also hard not to clap back as well because we know ourselves. And just because we're born different and we do something different doesn't mean that we're incompetent and that we're not able to achieve something. And I just needed those words of wisdom and that encouragement. Because of them, I think they're one of the biggest reasons why I was able to keep pushing forward because I had so many moments in my life that I wanted to give up or I was scared or I self-doubted myself because I had a lot of anxiety and I still suffer from anxiety, but I still get nervous to this day, no matter how long it's been. But it's such a great growth when I look back on like when I first started till now and just to see the fruit from it all, just not giving up and just to hear everyone messaging me that are not just without all four limbs, but even they have their four limbs as well. And we encourage them mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Do you have a story of someone who gave a negative comment, and how did you respond to that?
I mean, I've had stalkers. I've had stalkers, and it's been very scary. The negative comments, I think it's just like, why would you have children if you can't take care of them? And it's like, if you don't know my story, if you haven't even tried to get to watch I always say, go watch my life story videos, every single platform I have. So you can get a summary of my life. But if they're not trying to, I think they're just trying to jab and just to hurt your feelings. And I always tell people hurt others. They're not the issue. It's something else that hurt them that they want to take it out on you. And it's just something that I just pray for them about.
I love that when I've been watching some of your posts is the courage you have to be honest and opinionated. And I think that no matter who you are, sometimes we feel like if we share our opinion, it might mean rejection, but that's okay because you're standing up for something. And I just wanted to ask you, how do you get that courage to be your own honest self and share your opinion, even if not everyone agrees with it?
I think that I've gotten that from my family growing up and my mom because when I was younger, I remember I used to shut down and be an introvert and be scared to like voice how I felt or anything. But my mom always said, speak up and speak your mind, that I'm not a doormat and that those that love me will accept it and those that are not for me will just move along. And you just have to be yourself because it does get overwhelming and it does get exhausting to try to please other people. I mean, we all have our own mind to think with, and just because I'm born like this doesn't mean that I can relate to every single person, and just vice versa, anybody with all four limbs. We all have our own opinions and situations, but it's always about being kind, treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah. Do you respond to the negative comments?
And I'm not supposed to, but I still do it. It's a habit.
You're trying to speak your mind. You're like, how do I
I
hold myself back?
got in trouble many times for it.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
My moderators and my admins, or I have my manager. Elena, you're not supposed to be saying that. Elena, let us handle it. But I'm like, I just need my moment. Let me have my moment. It makes me feel good. Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's because everybody sees us and born like the way we are. They think that we're not allowed to have an opinion or we're not allowed to have a clap back. And I think they think that we're just like a doormat. And I'm just human, just like anybody else. I don't like when people try to limit me.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
awesome. I know that you have such a good following. I see all the women and the love out there, all the hearts and all that that they express. What do you think is your secret to garnering such a following? Because some people are out there, they're trying their best as influencers, and maybe they're not as successful as you, but you don't seem to have any issues with growing that following. Is there anything in particular that's the secret to your success?
I'm just goofy. I think that's this. I'm just myself. And I feel like I have like multiple personalities. Like you get your fun Elena, you get the crazy Elena, you get the emotional Elena, you get the churchy Elena. It's just it's those versions of me. I'm just being raw and myself. I'm just there's not one version of Elena. There's like multiple versions of myself. But it's not a bad thing because I think I hit different groups of people that they can relate to me. And even from all different parts of the world. And I just want to be myself. And I always tell everyone I am the nicest person you can meet, but I'm also could be the meanest person. But it depends on how you treat me or how you talk to me or how you ask me a question. It's just, it's like what you reap is what you sow. And that's how I am as a human. And again, it's that tough skin that I had to grow within the years because I was not like this 6, 7 years ago. I was so scared of everyone in the world and just being myself or showing my foot. And now I'm just on live or just eating away, just cooking and just don't care. You don't like it, go somewhere else. But that's just how I am. And I think a lot of it encourages my kids too, to boost their self-esteem as well, because they're seeing that mom is not allowing people to put them down. Therefore, I think it makes them want to work harder.
We talked about the negative comments. I'd love to hear if there was a positive comment that stuck out to you and how it made you feel.
I think the most positive comments I can get is just an encouragement of someone just telling me I'm just human. I'm human and I have feelings and everything that I'm feeling at that moment is valid. And my feelings are valid. A lot of people don't ask me like, how are you doing? A lot of people would make just compliments and say you're inspiring and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're a great mom and you influence me with makeup and you encourage me to want to cook more or things. But when someone actually asks me how am I doing, it makes me feel like a human being all over again. Because you have to be this persona when you're on social media. You have to put on this act whether you're good or you're not good mentally or physically or whatever's going on your day of life or if they don't know if you're still struggling the way that you were born. They think they see you now and they see me dolled up with hair and makeup and lights and everything and brands, but they don't see the vulnerability that I still struggle with. And I try not to show it as often because I feel like sometimes it's used as fuel to their fire if they want to use it against me, if that makes sense.
So, how do you create that boundary between this is Elena on social media, the front
Mhm.
facing, and then there's me, the person, the mom, the cook, the clean, the everything?
I think the only way I can do it is just letting it known that I'm okay to be honest and out there about certain scenarios and things, how I do stuff and how I face certain challenges. But I do tell everyone I do have boundaries when it comes to certain questions and things that they don't need to know. I always say if you're born like me or you're raising someone like me, I am happy to talk to you privately. But if you feel like you have to ask me a personal question, like a boundary question, whether it's like getting dressed or a bathroom, I feel like it's nobody's business, to be honest. I feel like people are just too curious and they take it to an extreme. And some come with their comments and they could be very genuine about it, and some can come with thinking it's hilarious. And you kind of have to have that boundary to protect your mind mentally for those situations and scenarios.
That's true. Wow. It's been a couple years now. How many years since you first started, you said, with a following of 500? How many
Uh,
years ago was that?
a year ago.
Only a year ago? Oh, goodness. Wow. What's your favorite part about all of this, about being an influence to so many?
I think all the opportunities have been able to come my way that I've never thought I would ever be.
Yeah.
I think when you used to watch other makeup influencers and you would see the brands and companies and the PR packages, and I was like, I want to do that. And when they were all reaching out to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, they actually reached out to me and they saw me. And they were like, we want you to come out to, our our area and we want you to promote and we want you to see our makeup stores and we want you to fly out. That was a big deal. And then like last year I was pregnant and I was losing my motivation and with makeup and wobbling around with the belly and using my feet, I just gave up on the makeup. And then I got reached out from like Sephora and they were like, we want to do something with you and we want to fly out to you. And it was an amazing experience. I never thought I would ever be seen or just to be reached out to and talk to schools. I think a lot of it's been a humbling experience for me. It really has. And it just shows me that there is no limits. And I know that we were taught that growing up using our feet, that there is no limits, that we can do whatever we put our mind to. But I think it took a different extreme for me to just show me that you can do it just like anybody else, no matter what you look like. You just got to be confident in yourself.
I just wonder if so you've gained confidence from this whole journey then. Like
Yeah, we did talk about confidence in a previous episode, so if you haven't already gone, check that out too. But because it really is huge. I think it's actually episode number 1 is the one that we
it
did on.
is.
It's because I really like Jessica and Elena. I share the same belief that confidence is key to everything, but confidence doesn't come without action. It is built with action and
Right.
courage. I'm curious, Elena, what do you think people like to watch you for?
Honestly, everybody has their moments. Like, it could be for makeup, it could be for cooking, it could be just me making the coffees because I love to make coffees, and that's something I want to do in the future is come up my own little coffee brand. But it could be for various things. They just like to see the mom life. They like to see something that can relate or just motivate them. Sometimes they feel like they can't even get out of bed and make their own kids lunch and breakfast and get them ready for school. And then yet they see me, someone who just gave birth like recent last year, and I was still stitched up. And I'm sitting there making lunches at 5 o'clock in the morning and taking my daughter's school bus. It just motivates them. It motivates them and it makes them think, what am I complaining about? And I think for me, the reason why I think I never gave up was because I didn't like the limitations that were set on me. I wanted to do what everybody else was doing, and I didn't want to be told the word, no, you can't. And I was always that type of person that tried to prove everyone wrong. But now I'm at that point where I don't need to prove anyone anything. The only one I need to prove is myself. I think that's our adolescence. I think that's when we're teenagers or in our early 20s, we're just trying to be like, I can do this and watch me do that. And now that we're in our 30s and 40s, it's a different, we have that different perspective on things. I just want to show myself that I can do it. You might need a few adjustments to get it done. It could be done. It can be.
What is your message to the world?
My message is that stop thinking that everyone's going to look the same because we're all born, shaped, colored differently. And that's what makes the world beautiful. That's what makes us beautiful. I feel like that sometimes we're brought in this world that we might not understand why we're brought here for certain scenarios and challenges, but I think it's our way of being taught that how strong someone's mind can be. It's all in the mind. And that's what I tell everyone. It's how you think. And that's what I tell my kiddos every day when they struggle with their anxiety or their stress or they feel limited. I'm like, yeah, you should see how I grew up and what I was limited on. And I first thought my mom was being very mean to me growing up. Mom, I don't want to eat in public. I want to hide in the corner and I don't want to use my foot. And my mom's like, who cares? Do what you got to do. And now as a mom, I get it because of her pushing myself to be out there. It's just, now I just don't care. Like, I don't care if you're looking at me if I have to feed myself or my kids. I don't care if you see me opening the door. Like, I gotta do it. It is what it is. I'm not hurting nobody. And you just gotta learn that people are gonna do things different. And you might not understand how we do things, whether it's with our feet or not. You might think that feet are disgusting. And I'm not a foot person either. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. But I know that I take great care of myself. And I know that what I can and cannot do. And if you're put in that scenario, you would totally understand it. But just give us a little bit of grace, a little bit of grace.
That was wonderful.
Well, Elena, I feel like you should have the term or the tagline beauty from the inside out because yes, you're an influencer regarding beauty, but obviously your attitude about life, being a mom, being an influencer, it really comes from the inside. So the makeup is, and I say this to a lot of people, what we're experiencing on the outside and what we show on the outside is just a reflection of how we feel on the inside about ourselves. So the makeup is not, from my observation, is not a mask. It's actually an enhancement of how you feel about yourself inside, which is beautiful and confident and strong and courageous. And so I want to thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and sharing your story. And perhaps this will inspire someone who's watching or listening to maybe try it. If they have ever had that dream of like, I want to do that. And so this will encourage them that it can be done. It has been done and it will continue to be done. And perhaps you're being called to this life and it's not easy, but it is possible. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with us, Elena, before we say goodbye to you for this episode?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. And Jessica, thank you for thinking of me. And I can't wait to see how this goes and progresses. And I just hope blessings for y'all. And I'm just happy to be here with you guys. And thank you for having me share my story on here.
You.
Right. To you who are watching or listening, please subscribe and share. Follow us, join our community, engage. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think about social media influencers who have limb differences? Maybe you have another opinion about that. We'd like to know and engage with you. So thank you for continuing to tune into the podcast, and we'll see you again next time.
They said there's only one way to live, but we were born to redefine it. We found light in the hardest places, turned the struggle into guidance. Every scar, every stair, every door once closed became the wind, but